Hello and welcome. Tonight, suspected Boko Haram insurgents launch attacks on military base in Malamfatorin Abadam community, local government area of Borno State, killing 22 soldiers. Anambra State government demolishes kidnappers' hideout in Oba, where over 30 graves were discovered. Family of late Jeffrey Akro, a 200-level student of Ajay Crowther University in Oyo, who was tragically beaten to death over allegation of stealing a mobile phone, seeks justice as he is laid to rest. And U.S. President Donald Trump wants neighbors Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinians to clean out Gaza. The Nigerian military has confirmed the death of 22 soldiers, including a commander, after a suicide attack at a military base in Malamfatori at the Nigerian border in Borno State. While the military, in a statement by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, also confirmed the death of over 70 terrorists during the course of the clearance operations, which took place between January the 16th and the 25th, including the death of 3 notable terrorist commanders. The commanding officer of the battalion, the lieutenant colonel, 2 senior officers, including the base medical director, are said to be among those killed in the attack. Sources told Channels Television that the insurgents arrived at the base in multiple gun trucks, razing several buildings and military operational vehicles during the assault. And staying in the north, barely 1 week after a fuel tanker explosion in Diko, Gurara local government area claimed over 100 lives, Niger State has been struck by another tragedy after a devastating explosion rocked a mining site in Sabonpegi in Mashegu local government area in the early hours of today. Initial reports from the community suggest that the blast, believed to be caused by a poor handling of explosive devices used for mining, left 4 people dead and many others injured. However, the Niger State Police Command, in a statement by its PRO, says the explosion caused by dynamite stored in a residential building resulted in the death of 1 person, while 6 others sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the General Hospital in Kenji in New Busa. And the traditional ruler of the district, Mohammed Baiwa, during a visit to the affected community, has called for calm, saying the traditional institutions will not hesitate to put out disciplinary measures against people who store dynamites in residential areas. Over to the southeastern region in Anambra State, where the state government has demolished a hotel allegedly used for kidnapping and sundry crimes in Oba, Idemili South local government area of the state. Leading the demolition squad and its deputy governor, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, who says numerous horrific things were found in that hotel, including over 30 graves, a shrine, live bullets, among other things. He notes that the Homeland Security Law signed by Governor Chukwuma Soludo has energized security operators in the state, and any facility or property confirmed to be used for criminal activities will not only be pulled down, it will be taken over by the state government.
The Udoka Golden Point Hotel and Suites, sited along the Onitsha-Owerri Road axis, appears to be what it is, hotel. But that's a facade. On the contrary, the building masks heinous criminal activities ranging from kidnapping and other violent crimes. Barely a week after Governor Chukwuma Soludo signed the Homeland Security Framework into law and the mantra of see something, say something issued, the Homeland Strike Force unearthed the evils of Udoka Golden Point Hotel and Suites, Oba. Deputy Governor Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim leads a demolition squad to pull down a hospitality home that perpetrates such mind-boggling hostility. The horror story is visible at the topmost floor of the 2-story building. It's an atrocious sight to behold. Chains of graves and a shrine in clear view, rooms in shambles, and expended bullets bring into light the reprehensible acts that have been committed. The demolition begins in accordance with the Homeland Security Law. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Ibezim, makes it clear that this is not a symbolic act. It's a serious response to this despicable crime.
There is still room for amnesty. Granted, come out. We have all sorts of training going on for the youth, the 1 U 2 skills which have upscaled, and a lot of things, employment going on for the youth and others. The state has now said no, zero tolerance to all sorts of criminalities. Our people must go on their businesses unharassed.
Taking the structure down completely, the team moves to another location, still in Oba, to seal a facility reported to be in the same line of business. The deputy governor gives the hotel owner 48 hours to explain why the structure will not be demolished, even as investigation is ongoing.
What we are doing now is, with the information we've so gathered about this hotel, we are selling this hotel, okay, and then we are giving you 48 hours to bring up your evidences, because the security agencies are also going on with their investigation. If it is not done well, if you don't show clear-cut evidence why you should continue in this kind of business, we'll bring it down, and the government will take ownership of the land. So for now, this place is safe.
In the light of the discoveries, the state government urges members of the public to support the war against crime and criminality and report any activity that is unclear to them in their areas.
Let's head to the southern region now. In Delta State, the family of late Jeffrey Akro, a 200-level student of Ajay University in Oyo State, who was tragically beaten to death following allegations of stealing a mobile phone, is seeking justice and relying on the judiciary to ensure justice is served. They made their remarks after burying Jeffrey in his hometown in Baregolo in Ugeli South local government area of Delta State.
Following the tragic death of late Jeffrey Akro, a 200-level mechanical engineering student at the Ajay University, a group of concerned citizens in Warri, including family and friends of the deceased, took to the streets in a candlelight procession to offer prayers and show their support. A day after his body arrives his hometown in Ugeli, Delta State, sparking outpour of emotions and tears. Family and friends gathered to pay their last respects as the young mechanical engineering student is buried. Anguish, torment, and brokenheartedness is palpable here as family, relatives, friends struggle to come to terms with the loss of the promising young student. They insist the burial ceremony isn't the end of the case, expressing hope that justice will be served.
After doing the due process in terms of requesting via the court for our brother to be laid to rest today. That is the reason why we're all here. We are all not happy, we are sad, but we have no option than to do that and allow the court process to take its due course.
For me, the university, they committed a negligence from their side because the child was sent to school not to come and carry cups. And besides, the private university, the university hope to take care of and protect that boy. So the university made a lot of mistakes. I pray that kind of thing should not happen from that place again. The Akro family and the Emiko family, we are working together. So the lawyers are the one handling those issues. So I believe justice will prevail.
According to one of the counsels, the court had previously granted permission for the release of Akro's body for burial, but insists the journey is far from over.
We applied to court for the young man to be buried, and he has to be buried. The young man cannot remain in the hospital ad infinitum. That is, you cannot leave the body there until the determination of the matter, because you never can tell where the matter will end. When you are starting a matter like this, you have to be looking at the Supreme Court, because, for example, anybody that is dissatisfied with the decision of the Court of First Instance, have a right of appeal. So if you don't bury him or the disease now, it will mean that you will leave the body there till after Supreme Court pronouncement.
With high hopes that the perpetrators of this heinous act will be held accountable, the family believes this will offer some semblance of closure and serve as a deterrent to others who may consider taking the law into their own hands.
In Abia State, the governor, Dr. Alex Otti, has flagged off the rehabilitation and remodeling of 200 primary healthcare facilities across the state. According to the governor, the initiative is set up to improve access to quality healthcare, especially in rural communities. Flagging off that project, tagged Project Ekweme at the primary healthcare center in Ngwu, Uzuakoli in Bende local government area. Dr. Otti says the project was initiated in pursuit of the broad objectives for the healthcare delivery system.
The condition of primary health centers in Abia's rural areas has long been a concern, with many facilities suffering from dilapidated infrastructure and a lack of essential medical equipment.
And gentlemen,
Residents and healthcare workers, particularly nurses, have voiced their frustration over issues such as leaking roofs and cracked walls.
advisor to His Excellency on Health.
However, the launch of Project Ekweme at the primary healthcare center in Ngwu signals hope for improved healthcare services in all communities. Under the project, 200 primary healthcare centers will be remodeled to address the needs of residents. Addressing traditional rulers and other stakeholders, Governor Alex Otti promises that the healthcare project will feature state-of-the-art facilities just like in urban communities.
This initiative is set up to improve the access to quality healthcare, especially in the rural communities, reduce exposure to quacks and fake drugs, and effectively improve good health and longevity for the general populace. This initiative has been tagged Project Ekweme by our team of the State Ministry of Health because it practically speaks to our commitment to fulfilling the key promises we made to change the healthcare delivery landscape in the state for the better.
In support of this initiative, the Commissioner for Health, Professor Enoch Ogwonaya, along with the matron of the Ngwu Health Center, share their perspectives on the significance of Project Ekweme.
Today's flag-off ceremony symbolizes the rebirth of hope for equity in quality healthcare access for Abia after many decades of despair and neglect. Each of the PSCs, likewise, in other parts of Abia State, will have, just like this PSC, in addition, running water, solar power, and accommodation for staff.
We express our heartfelt gratitude to Your Excellency. Your legacy in our community, Ngwu Ozakoli, will be remembered for generations to come. To this effect, I want to sincerely appreciate our honorable governor, Dr. Alex Chioma Otti, the Ekweme one of Ngwu Primary Healthcare Center, and his entourage.
Before the flag-off ceremony, Governor Otti welcomed the delegation from the revived medical team in Belgium, who are returning to Abia State for a medical mission for the second time. The governor reiterated that healthcare remains a top priority for his administration and reinforcing his commitment to improving the well-being of residents.
In part two, after the break, President Bola Tinubu arrives Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, ahead of the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit holding between January the 27th and the 28th. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents launch attacks on military base in Malamfatori, Abadam local government area of Borno State, killing 22 soldiers. Anambra state government demolishes kidnappers' hideout in Oba, where over 30 graves were discovered. Family of late Jeffrey Akro, a 200-level student of Akro University who was tragically beaten to death over allegation of stealing a mobile phone, seeks justice as he's laid to rest. And U.S. President Donald Trump wants neighbors, Egypt and Jordan, to take Palestinians to clean out Gaza. President Bola Tinubu has arrived Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to participate in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit, which is billed for January the 27th to the 28th. Presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga says President Bola Tinubu will join other African leaders, private sector leaders, development partners and civil society groups in Dar es Salaam to strategize and accelerate energy access across the continent. And the president was received by the Foreign Minister of Tanzania, Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, and Charge d'Affaires of Nigeria High Commission to Tanzania, Ambassador Salisu Sulaiman. A flag-waving crowd was also at hand to welcome the president. The two-day summit is being hosted by the government of Tanzania, the African Union, the African Development Bank Group, and the World Bank Group. President Tinubu is billed to deliver a national statement reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to achieving universal access to energy and its leadership role in Africa's energy sector at that summit. Back home in Nigeria, the leadership of the Mandate movement of the All Progressives Congress, the APC of Alimosho Federal Constituency, Lagos, has reaffirmed its support for President Bola Tinubu and the commitment to the success of the party. Led by Abdullahi Enilolobo, dismissed allegations that the Mandate movement worked against the victory of the party, describing such rumor as the handwork of disgruntled elements of the party who lost out from various elective positions in the constituency.
Call it a carnival and you may not be wrong, considering the sea of heads that have come to be part of this engagement. It's the Stakeholders Forum of the Mandate Movement of the All Progressives Congress in Alimosho Federal Constituency, displaying their support for the party and the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
You are passing the message of our president, of our mentor, our leader, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we should continue to support him and continue to remain loyal and steadfast, and the hope, to keep the hope alive. The President of Nigeria must not relent in his objectives, in his target, in his renewing Nigeria. Despite all the criticism, he's a man of he has a target, he's a man of hope. You must not allow the sight of all the criticism by the enemy of progress to debar him from doing what he has for Nigeria.
According to the leadership of the movement, their loyalty remains with the party despite the shoddy works by detractors to paint them with the brush of anti-party activities.
We are gathered here to instill hope and confidence in our people that are grieved because of the false allegation, and they allege that we are involved in anti-political activities during the presidential election. We know that we have every representation in terms of leadership of APC in Nigeria, so we are calling on them that our people are grieved, our people are unhappy because we are the mainstream of the party. We have always worked for the party, we have always worked for the progress of the party, and we want our people to rise up for justice. We want the DSC and the leadership of APC in Nigeria to rise up to our cause in Alimosho Federal Constituency.
The rally, they say, also provides them the opportunity to discuss future election.
In few months' time, we are going to do local government election. APC is the party of ground, both at the federal, the state, and the local. So what we are doing is to let the people know that we are fully prepared.
The Mandate movement says the mammoth crowd speaks to their popularity in the locality, which they pledged will continue to drive their quest to keep the party's flag flying always.
To the Supreme Court now. The Supreme Court of Nigeria on July the 11th, 2024 declared that the local government chairmen and councillors are entitled to a full-year tenure, ending years of uncertainty and illegal terminations. The judgment, delivered by Justice Nwame Agaba and 6 others, reaffirms the constitutional powers and independence of the local government councils, which are part of 3 tiers of government in the Federation. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama in this report takes a look at the feasibility of this implementation and how some local government areas in Rivers State are faring under the new dispensation.
The local government councils basically operate constitutionally as a 3rd tier of government and are expected to provide governance at the grassroots level. Before the Supreme Court judgment, there had been cases where some state governors constitute caretaker chairmen and allegedly fiddle with funds belonging to these local councils as the monies are paid into a joint account with the state governments. However, the July 11, 2024 judgment by the Supreme Court was met with jubilation by many who saw it as a pronouncement granting independence to the local government councils and ending unnecessary manipulation. To ensure implementation, the SGF George Akume constituted a 10-man committee to oversee the transition in obedience to the court ruling. All states running caretaker committees were given deadlines to conduct elections at the local councils, and this has been complied with by some states.
I have to send a letter to EFCC.
But like a bolt out of the blues, the recent developments in Edo State, where the House of Assembly wielded its big stick by suspending some chairmen over alleged misappropriation of funds, raised questions about the implementation of the Apex Court's ruling.
The local governments had autonomy financially. They were running their affairs. They were not paying their teachers. They were not paying the health workers. If you remember, there was that uproar. Pensions were not paid. And so, in the 1999 Constitution, it was agreed that, look, let's take out that. People cried out. So the states took on the responsibility jointly. And that's the coming into existence of the joint accounts.
In the wake of the judgment, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, while addressing some stakeholders, cited Section 7, subsection 3A and B to buttress the point that the joint account system between the states and the LGAs is a creation of the law.
Are local governments going to have their delineated responsibilities as defined in the Constitution, and for them to actually deliver on those and get them to work? Absolutely, the local governments must take charge.
In order to assess how the local government areas in River State are faring in the wake of the judgment, we visited some LGAs to see if the implementation of direct funding from the Federation account as mandated by the Apex Court has started.
First of all, we would want to thank the Supreme Court for that explicit judgment, because prior to this time there has been a fuse about that particular part of governance. That particular process is still on. They are yet to finalize.
They also share their thoughts on what the financial autonomy they have enjoyed from the state governor within the 3 months of assuming office has enabled them achieve.
But for us in River State, and myself as the Argon chairman, prior to this time, River State has been enjoying financial autonomy, because we have a state government and a state governor that does not tamper with the funds of the local government.
We are able to complete the construction of 100 meters concrete pavement road in the community. We are also the ongoing construction of the copper sludge is ongoing.
Next, we also spoke to some residents on their perception concerning local government financial autonomy and if anything has changed.
So I know quite already, as far as laws are concerned, there are processes, but they are not going to put a kind of difficulty if the local government, the House of Assembly has a role to play. They're supposed to do that at ease. We don't need to beg them to do that. After all, it's part of their constitutional responsibility to get that done.
The big question remains, how effective can the Supreme Court judgment, which has affirmed and local government council chairman around Nigeria have enjoyed full tenure in office as well as have financial autonomy, whilst the 1999 Constitution Section 7, subsection 60, also stipulates that the House of Assembly around the country can regulate the expenditure and appropriation of its local government through scrutiny. That is the big question. Debra Balana, Channels Television News.
A new political movement known as the Northern Youth Movement has emerged to confront the persistent governance and socio-economic challenges in northern Nigeria. At the launch of the movement, the convener, Professor Usman Yusuf, a former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Authority, asserts that the Muslim ticket of the present administration is deceptive and that no right-thinking northerner should support it again. The movement encourages northern youth to actively participate in politics and stop the blame game in order to change the narrative and create a better future for the region. Our correspondent Hajara Aliyu reports.
The Northern Youths Movement, also known as the Fiyar Matasan Arewa, is a political initiative that spans across the 19 northern states, cutting across religious and political divides. In his address to the youth, the convener emphasizes that despite the region's large voter base, northern Nigeria continues to suffer, and the responsibility for this failure lies within the people themselves. He adds that their role as stakeholders is to guide and empower the youths.
We must all galvanize our youth and wake them up and step aside and show them the way. The only way this nation can be built is by the youth, not 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old people.
Now is a time to start organizing our teaming youth across, so that when we come for election, we decide to follow one way and to choose a credible person that will serve our region and the country in general.
The movement's primary goal is to raise awareness among youths about the challenges at hand and advocate reforms within the political system. The chairman of the group explains that the formation of the movement is driven by the pressing issues facing northern Nigeria, including insecurity, poverty, unemployment, and ethno-religious divisions.
The country is something else. So now we are looking at an alternative to the country. We are thinking, how are we going to move to bring change to this country?
We are the educated elites or the educated youths move away from politics and allow those talks to fill in the vacuum. Then certainly at every given opportunity, people will consider the talks as the youth. So this is what we're trying to do. We want the youth now to take over their destiny in their hands.
The movement aims to unite young people across the northern states to find collective solutions to their shared challenges. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, our correspondent Kelly Agiga braves the odds to bring stories of those who have been forced to take refuge under bridges across Lagos State. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The president of the Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA, Reverend Ayuba Bagat, has commended the leadership style of the administration of Governor Obasani of Kaduna State, noting that the governor has demonstrated exceptional commitment to good governance and inclusivity. Speaking at the courtesy visit to the governor at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim House in Kaduna, the ECWA president praises the non-kinetic approach adopted by Governor Sani to tackle issues of banditry, as well as his commitment to give all parts of Kaduna State a sense of belonging in infrastructural developments and appointments.
This is the first time the president of Evangelical Church Winning All, who is also an indigene of Kaduna State, is visiting the government house. And the purpose is to interface with the governor on developmental matters and other progressive issues in the state.
Excellency, I am here to formally acknowledge...
The cleric begins his remark by first acknowledging the improved security situation and infrastructure development in Kaduna State, which he knows has paved the way for a more conducive environment for businesses to thrive and people to live in.
And I believe their better days are yet to come as you continue on such a leadership pedestal. The improved security situation in the state has particularly paved the way for a more conducive environment for businesses to strive.
The Akro president also praises Governor Sani's administration for running a pro-people government.
Reputable leadership, effort in Kaduna State, your leadership has been a demonstration of commitment to good governance and inclusivity, infrastructural and human capital development.
Welcoming his guest, Governor Sani reiterates his administration's commitment to run an inclusive government anchored on equity and fairness in order to improve the infrastructure and socio-economic well-being of the people.
As the governor of Kaduna State, I'm committed to fostering a harmonious and inclusive environment where people can thrive. I believe that our diversity is our strength, and by working together, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges. This is the spirit behind the Kaduna Peace model, which entails leveraging and partnership of the Kaduna State government, security agencies, and critical stakeholders in tackling insecurity and developmental challenges in our state.
With the visit, the Kaduna State governor is promising to continue partnering with religious organizations and other critical stakeholders in piloting the affairs of the state, especially in the areas of peace building, education, and healthcare delivery.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has filed a lawsuit against the federal government and the Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, over what it describes as the arbitrary, unconstitutional, unlawful and unfair 50% increase in telecom tariffs. In a suit filed at the Federal High Court Abuja, SERAP contends that the tariff hike infringes on citizens' rights to freedom of expression and access to information as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution and international treaties. The statement issued on Sunday by SERAP adds that the action contravenes both the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act of 2018 and the International Human Rights Standards. The NCC recently approved the tariff hike, which raised the cost of 1-minute call from 11 naira to 16 naira 50 kobo, and the price of 1 gigabyte of data from 287 naira 50 kobo to 431 naira 25 kobo, and short message service charges from 4 naira to 6 naira. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, have intercepted a consignment of loud, which is a synthetic strain of cannabis en route to the United Kingdom at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. A statement issued by the NDLEA's Director, Media and Advocacy, Mr. Femi Babafemi, says that the consignment was concealed in a duvet and packaged for export through the cargo shed of the Lagos airport. He says 2 suspects linked to the bid to export the consignment to the UK were promptly arrested following the discovery by NDLEA officers on Tuesday, January the 21st. According to the NDLEA spokesman, 6 parcels of the psychoactive substance with a gross weight of 3.5 kilograms were concealed inside the duvet. Lagos, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, is surging with a population that is actually estimated at over 22 million people, which poses a huge challenge. Well, and so residents in their hundreds of thousands who cannot afford shelter over their heads have already been forced to take refuge in several underbridges scattered across the metropolitan city. In the special report, our correspondent Kelly Egiga braves the odds as he visits the world of bridge dwellers.
Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital, is a city of contrasts. Amidst the hustle and bustle, there is a hidden world that few dare to venture into. From the flashpoints of Oshodi, 7up, or Balende, the popular Third Mainland Bridge, and then to Adeliji Adele, and in Ogun State, the Kara Bridge and Arebo. This is life under the bridge. Me meet the Aziz, a family who calls this place home.
Let's say about 6 or 7 years. Although we are living comfortable and we are not living happy. We are just living comfortable. We are not happy because of where we are. Because in the rainy season now, if the rain starts to be falling, we just be on standing till daybreak.
Many residents here have been forced to flee their homes due to poverty, violence, demolition, wrong choices, or in search for greener pastures. Anu Oluwapo Kolade left Abeokuta in Ogun State about 1 year ago and turned 17 by February 28 this year. He tells me why.
My dad didn't pursue me out because of two. Before I go back to my daddy place. My daddy is always threatening me all the time. Now wait to make me come up for us. No saying they give me food, they give me ball. They threaten me too much.
Life under the bridge is a daily struggle. Occupants face challenges such as lack of access to clean water, sanitation, and health care. And despite the dangers and warnings, we return to the underbridge at night to film. The dwellers at this location, a tight-knit community looking out for each other.
And we are here for anything violent. We don't want violence here. Anything making violence here, we are not allow it.
From those trying to get dinner to those breaking barriers and limits just to earn a living. Life under the bridge is a testament to the human spirit's ability to thrive even in the most challenging circumstances. But that's not all. It's also a reminder that even in the darkest of corners, there is always hope and resilience. In Africa, Nigeria leads the pack with over 24.4 million people living in poverty, with many living under bridges or in informal settlements. And globally, an estimated 150 million people worldwide live in homelessness or in inadequate housing. Nimot Mwili is a structural engineer and chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Ikeja branch. She outlines the possible impact on such infrastructure.
You see people cooking, roasting, and emitting various forms of heat at a level not designed for the bridge to accommodate. So you gradually start seeing crack because there will be shrinkage. So when they shrink, the cover is that part that don't enable us to see the reinforcement. They start peeling off, and that undermines the integrity of the bridge.
The Lagos state government dismantled illegal shanties occupied by squatters beneath the Elegbata Bridge near Akpongbo in November 2024 and is promising to carry out more demolition. But the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Bengal Motosho, reveals other plans by the state government.
Some companies, some individuals, they have come up to say they want to take control of those bridges, beautify them in a manner that will make all of us proud as Lagosians when you pass through such places.
The stories of those living under the bridge are not just statistics or news headlines, but a reflection of our collective humanity. It's a clarion call that together we can create a more compassionate and equitable society where everyone has access to dignity, safety, and opportunity. Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News.
Well, still on infrastructure, the Lagos State government says the full enforcement of removal of stalls and shanties under Akwo Bridge, as well as shops and drainage channel setbacks in Lagos Island, will commence on Tuesday, following the expiration of the 48 hours quit notice issued to those traders. The State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, made this known after an inspection exercise to the areas today. He says it was observed that the setback of 2 critical drainage collectors have been converted into shops, thereby causing the total blockage of the collectors, which must be removed to prevent flooding in the area.
48 hours after the relocation notice issued to illegal stall owners on drainage setback in Akpo area of Lagos Island, the State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, is back in the area to see the extent of compliance by the traders. Government walks the talk. Those who refuse to listen and clear their makeshift stalls from the roadside pay the price as their stalls come down, even as others try to salvage what they can. Back to Akpo under bridge. The area has been partially cleared by poultry and cattle businessmen who occupy the space for their business. The commissioner says he'll be back soon. An ongoing story building built in between structures is sealed for safety reasons. The team then moves to Okari Market area of Lagos Island and insists it must be cleaned.
Every material until the space is clean is a public infrastructure.
The environment is unkept. The use of styrofoam, banned by the government, contributes a major part of the waste. Public infrastructure is also threatened by those mixing concrete on the road.
People are just taking the laws into their hands. They'll put their building materials on a constructed drainage, and then they'll put their mixers with the cement on the road. The next few weeks, the road will be destroyed, and they will be the ones that will be calling out the government for not doing the right thing. So we've said, okay, for you to even put your material on this infrastructure, kindly seal up the place. Let them cut away their materials. Then we unseal them like we said on Thursday. But for us, enforcement will start on Tuesday.
A small section under the bridge has been demarcated for prayers. Government believes this carrot and stick approach is the way forward for people disobeying the law.
Some of them will be recalcitrant, yes, and then we'll now go to the next level, which is make some of them examples so others can see that the law can also come at you. The will of justice may be slow, but usually grinds to a halt at some point in time. The moment the government cannot see all these infractions at the same time, but it behoves the government and its institutions to do the right thing. The moment you find this infraction, abate it and remove it. So that's what we're going to do.
The Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources says it will be back to Lagos Island to carry out full enforcement and clean up the environment.
The Cross Rivers House of Assembly Committee on Works has expressed satisfaction with the new designs on the Adiabo-Ikoneto Road in Udopani, which has been abandoned for over 3 decades. The committee, led by its chairman, Honorable Egbe Jabengo, praised the quality of work done and the new designs, which incorporate modern technology and sustainability features.
3 decades ago, the Adiabo-Ikoneto Road was conceived as the then military government attempted to construct the project. But sadly, it was abandoned, dashing the people's hopes. However, today, it has finally been revived. Adiabo community, located in Udukbani local government, is where residents specialize in farming and fishing in all kinds of seafood. But their major challenge was lack of an access road connecting them with other neighboring communities, as they rely on water as their major access route. Expressing deep concern over the prolonged abandonment of the Adiabo Road, Governor Basi Otu visited and performed a groundbreaking ceremony for the project to begin.
I want to thank God for this. Today, I'm sure will go down in history as the day that we achieved a certain level of milestones which can be recorded beyond this commemoration.
Members of the Crossover House of Assembly Committee on Works in its oversight function are also at the project site to assess the progress of the new road designs and ensure that the construction is on track.
What we are seeing here is impressive, and something that so many people have not, so many governors who have served and go have not done.
To have seen this level at which they filled this place, that means they've really done a whole lot. And from the new design we hear, from white 20, they are now doing white 32. That means it's a good thing, and we'll continue oversighting all of these functions to make sure we keep the contractors on their feet and they do the right thing.
Officials from the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure speak on the design of the project while asking the federal government to intervene on the various federal alignments in the state, including Calabar-Itu, Akankpa-Biase, and Ikom-Ubudu roads, as well as Murtala Mohammed Highway, among others.
There was no road here yesterday, and today there is road. Courtesy of Senator Prince Bassi Edelutu. So if you want to talk about how was, it means that there was none. So we are giving you a brand new conception, to do. Well, I want to apply this bridge, and now we are putting up a new bridge because the one they did, they couldn't do anything, it all collapsed.
It's truly a viable project because it will help and become an alternative access, linking this other side of Odukwane with the main Calabar city metropolis. So it's expanding the urbanization.
The project operations manager gives an assurance that the road will be ready in 2026, even as he admits the cordial relationship between the project handlers and the community.
So sports news now. Remo Stars have extended their lead at the top of the Nigeria Premier Football League to 5 points as the Sky Blue Stars battled for a goal down to beat Akwa United 2-1 in matchday 20 clash at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. While the win now takes the Kenya-based team to 39 points from 20 games. And that's their closest rivals. Rivers United suffered a 2-1 defeat to host Plateau United in the final moments of 5 additional minutes in Jos, with Emmanuel Ihezwe getting the win. The Pride of Rivers are on 34 points from 20 league games in Owerri. Coach Emmanuel Lamoneke's Heartland edged Daniel Amokachi's Lobby Stars by a lone goal, and the defeat now leaves Lobby on the relegation zone with 20 points from 20 matches, while Heartland are on the 11th spot with 25 points. The English Premier League, where Brentford picked up just their second away win of the English Premier League season as they scored 2 half goals to beat Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park earlier today. Leicester pushed Tottenham boss closer to the sack with 2-1 win, and that extended the North London side dismal run, lifting the Foxes out of relegation zone. The side team blew the lead on home turf as they crumbled to a 6 defeat in their last 7 league games. With only 1 win in their last 11 top-flight matches, Tottenham are now languishing in 15th place, just 8 points above the bottom 3. Emerson's fine herder also secured West Ham a deserved 1-1 draw at Aston Villa in the Premier League clash at Villa Park. Away from football, double Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner has set his own sights on mastering clay and grass courts to make himself a complete player after the Italian claimed his 3rd hard courts Grand Slam title earlier today. Here's more on the men's singles finals and, of course, other sporting events. US President Donald Trump has suggested relocating Gazans to Arab countries like Egypt and Jordan as either a temporary measure or a long-term agreement. He added that he had already spoken to the King of Jordan, Abdullah II, about his idea and is now planning to speak with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt. Both Egypt and Jordan have rejected such proposals in the past. Hamas also is firmly rejecting that idea. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol has been charged with insurrection, and this comes after the attempted a way to declare martial law in December, making him the first sitting president in South Korea to be charged with a crime. Prosecutors had to make a decision on whether to charge or release him before the start of a new week when a court in Seoul rejected a request to extend Mr. Yoon's detention. Separately, the Constitutional Court has begun deliberations on whether to formally dismiss Mr. Yoon or reinstate him as president. The impeached president will be standing trial with his former defense minister and senior military commanders who are accused of helping him plan and carry out the attempt to seize total power. And the main news again. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents have launched attacks on a military base in Malam Faturi, Abadam local government area of Borno State, killing 22 soldiers. The military, which confirmed the attack in a statement, says it also killed 70 of the insurgents, including 3 of their commanders. We also told you that the Anambra state government has demolished kidnappers' hideouts in Oba, in the Demolition South local government area of the state, where over 30 graves were discovered. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Umawadu. Have a wonderful week ahead. Good night.